Welcome, guys.
Welcome to
the Coliving with PadSplit Podcast.
Hosted by Ray and Orianna Nunez.
That's right.
This is a little bit different. I think that you guys should all get used to this. This is going to be a change that will stay longer term, and we're excited for it. So we don't have a guest today, and it's intentional why we don't have a guest today, because we want to recap what this year looked like.
That's right.
We also want to talk a little bit about the future and also some behind the scenes, some learnings, just a little bit about what it is that goes into this podcast. Stay tuned and enjoy this episode.
Let's get it. Welcome to the Coliving with PadSplit Podcast, where we talk to successful PadSplit investors and have them share their secrets to success, not only in PadSplit, but in other facets of real estate. This podcast will help you expedite your learning to be a successful investor in the co-living space. We are your hosts, Ray and Orianna Nunez. Show us some love by subscribing and sharing so we can continue to bring on amazing guests. What a year it's been.
It's been a crazy year.
It's been a beautiful year of growth. We decided to launch a PadSplit podcast this year. We are growing so much as a company. And there is so much interest in this subject that for us, it was absolutely such an easy decision for us to be able to bring this to so many different individuals that benefit from it. But also we are surrounded by those investors that are constantly investing in PadSplit. And you want to hear not just from the car dealership, right? You want to also learn from the people that actually bought the car, and you want to see those reviews, and you want to hear from real people that are going through it. So that's really how it came about. And how many episodes later?
27 episodes.
27
this will be
episodes
episode
later.
28, technically.
27 episodes later, we are here. We have brought you a single new guest once a week.
Yep.
Since the beginning of June.
Yep. June 11 to be exact was our debut, 2 episodes in one.
And we decided to launch in Spotify, Apple, and YouTube just to try to allow anybody that listens in any platform to be able to be a part of this. And we've just had such great feedback from so many people that are investors and are working towards getting their first PadSplit. Truly gratifying and very satisfying that, the vision that we had is being seen by others as well.
For sure. We hear it at our live events when we go out and speak to investors. We hear about it when they reach out to us and say, hey, I saw the podcast.
Right.
And we want to, have a meeting with you to discuss more on PadSplit. At times when we hear nothing, it comes out of nowhere, whether through social media, direct messaging, or in our daily video calls that we have with investors. But I do want to highlight a little bit about the podcast early on.
Let's do it.
And then we'll go into some bit of learnings throughout the year. But we started off June 11th, and we've had, as Orianna mentioned, to now 28 episodes, 27 different guests, or probably 25 exact different guests. And then we had 2 Spanish ones to repeat.
Yeah, we are starting to add some episodes in Spanish because we have a very large platform and a very large network of Spanish speaking investors that are also so interested in this. Luckily, Ray and myself are fully bilingual and fluent. So we are able to also bring so many of those investors in here. So we added a couple of shorter episodes in Spanish for those that are interested in, which is really cool, diversifying our product. But yeah, 25 different guests. That's incredible.
Yep. All successful investors outside of PadSplit and successful people within PadSplit. And so just to give you guys a little bit about the guests in advance, all these guests are PadSplit hosts or operator vendors that have helped investors in their process in PadSplit. So early on, we started with mainly just host. We realized that, hey, there are vendors like property managers that every single day answer questions from members and hosts and see what changes daily on what's working, what's not working. We included them onto the podcast.
Correct.
We have brought on lenders onto the podcast. And in future episodes, we will have contractors. We will have maybe a tax specialist.
Couple of realtors.
All of this in multiple different languages, in English and Spanish, hopefully. But now back onto like some of the stats on the different platforms. So to kind of breeze through it, in YouTube, we've had 14.5 thousand views.
That's awesome.
2.8 thousand hours watched.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Like I can't even fathom. Like that's pretty awesome.
For being less than a year, for being half of a year and getting those numbers.
That's right.
Is a testament to you guys.
Correct.
Our top 5 episodes
on YouTube. Where were they?
Episode 13, Mike
Aparicio. Okay. Property manager in Central Florida.
Correct.
Really good one.
Episode 8 with Jen and Joey.
Okay. Husband and wife duo doing co-living before they even knew what PadSplit was. They found PadSplit and they're like, thank you. I was about to quit co-living. You've made my life easier, and they've expanded ever since.
Yep.
Love that.
Episode 1, Bernardo.
Leaving, his entire life in a different country, rebranding himself, reinventing himself in a brand new country in the past maybe 4 years. He's still very new. Started definitely wholesaling, fix and flipping, and he realized wealth is built through holding assets and decided to start with a couple PadSplits.
Yep. And he continues to grow that portfolio.
Right.
Episode 2, Jeff Weller.
I mean, come on.
It's Jeff
How
Weller.
how could he not be in the top 5? Jeff Weller. Outside of being a successful real estate investor, right? He is an incredibly knowledgeable lender that has products for PadSplit and experience lending PadSplit product. Like, he is so well-rounded. He's very hands-on in his operation. Owns a large amount of PadSplits, like over 100 units. Remember, units is bedrooms, right? So over 100 bedrooms. And he has a very diverse portfolio. He has short-term, long-term, midterm. So
He's still fixing flips. He has a mortgage company, has a PadSplit loan.
I don't know how he does it.
It's crazy.
And he still picks up our calls.
Yep. Good friend. The last to round out the top 5 on YouTube, episode 11, Grant Barlow.
I mean, Grant Barlow, he is just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to systems and scaling. And a lot of investors fall short from scaling because you might get 1, you might get 2, and you stop right there. Grant Barlow knows how to scale. The amount of projects that he manages from across different cities within Florida is just massive. So scaling is literally his bread and butter, and he does it so smoothly. It's absolutely impressive.
He even picks markets that we're not technically in, builds it out, and makes them successful markets.
Impressive. Yeah. Great episodes.
So now to Spotify really quick.
Okay.
764 streams.
That's pretty awesome.
323 consumed hours. 61 followers.
Love it.
And the top 5 episodes.
Don't forget to follow us. Oh, top 5?
Yeah, top 5.
Spotify? Okay.
Top 5. Mm-hmm. I'll breeze through it because some of them are repeats for a reason.
Okay.
Episode 2 with Jeff Weller.
I mean, there he is.
Episode 1 with Bernardo.
Got it.
Episode 3 with David Buckles.
David, from strictly thinking that fix and flip was the way of life, right? And he's been fixing and flipping for like over 5, maybe even 8 years, right? And he had a shift in mindset when we introduced PadSplit to him. And in a year, he's now holding over 25 single family homes. So absolutely impressive as well.
That portfolio is growing.
Mm-hmm.
Very impressive what that guy's doing. Episode 5 is Javier.
Javi. I mean, Javi comes from being a realtor, kind of a little bit on the traditional realtor side. He is not a person to stay in a box at all. So he's always kind of been thinking ahead, thinking outside of the box, changing the narrative, being creative. So he has so much diversity on what he does and what he brings. It's impressive too. He owns short terms. He now acquired a mobile home park, right? So, and of course, PadSplits. And I think that the thing that I see here as a repeated theme is how many of these investors had a shift of mindset, knowing the value of holding real estate assets to really build wealth long term. Incredible. And last one, sorry, it's exciting. It's kind of exciting to review
the last one in Spotify, episode 4 with Jean Brun. Good friend, colleague, and spokesperson for PadSplit for a while, and investor.
I mean, that was super exciting to hear Jean's point of view because he started PadSplit with day zero, you know? So seeing and hearing from him the experience of him experiencing PadSplit from what it was and what it is today was just so exciting to hear that version of progress and growth with PadSplit.
Yep. That early footprint of what PadSplit was in Atlanta,
right?
How that was able to grow out and then create the footprint for what other cities would use later on down the line to add to it. So a debt to him, and something that we all learn, and it's because he was, part of the company very early on. So appreciate that guy. So baby, with Apple.
Oh, Apple. Let's talk about Apple. 63 followers. Keep hitting that follower button, guys. This really helps us so much. 118 listeners. So I feel like the stats per platform is a little bit different, which is interesting. We had also 4,600 plays, which is really cool. 344 hours of listening. And we have top 5 here too. Jeff, number 1. Oscar is number 2. You want to give a highlight on Oscar?
Yeah, for sure. So Oscar is a person that does have a full-time job, like most of us. And as a person that has a full-time job that continues to go network, show up to these networking events, continue to educate himself, he's a student of the game. He's looking to expand his portfolio and has been. So he's an investor that started off probably not in an ideal situation with and not an ideal company that he was doing his co-living properties with, and then got into PadSplit and then looked to learn from there. So Oscar's been successful and continues to be successful.
Number 3, we have George Mateo.
Love that guy.
I mean, I almost feel like every single person that we've brought to the podcast we are friends with, we've seen their growth, we've educated them. So it's like
we're in the trenches with these people. Absolutely. To be honest, especially if we guide them and educate them. Like, we're visiting properties on a hot Florida day or a cold Florida day. We're reviewing them. We're going through the transaction with them.
But it's a mutually beneficial relationship because we learn from them so 100%.
Much. 100%.
George is a lender, diversified also so much. He loved PadSplit, scaled very quickly, and operationally is so smooth, so good. Give George a listen to. Phenomenal. Number 4 episode on Apple, we have Alex Quesada. I mean, Alex is also a super impressive guy, right? He started wholesaling, and a lot of people started wholesaling. But the impressive thing about Alex and wholesaling is that he actually created a successful business that has run for years now and started diversifying into storage units. That's a very specific lane, and he is crushing it there. But he still sees the value of diversifying his portfolio in real estate. So he continues his successful business in wholesaling. He's still acquiring PadSplits, but he's massively growing his storage business facilities, which is so impressive. So Alex is another great listen.
100%. I mean, to have a person that is looking to scale the wealth that he has for not only himself now, but for his children through storage acquisitions, finding value in co-living properties. Take these examples of these hosts that are on here and see which ones resonate and take good learnings from them, like Alex, for example, and see how you can diversify from wholesaling into going into PadSplit or into storage acquisitions.
For sure. So all of these have so many different backgrounds. It's just incredible to see where everyone's mindset is and what connects us is PadSplit. So last episode on Apple, we have Carlos Morel. Carlos started, don't quote me if I say this wrong, Carlos. I am so sorry, but Carlos is a commercial lender. So he's been doing lending for...
He was a banker for sure.
Okay, there it is. So, but on the commercial space, that I know, because he was not traditional real estate. He was doing really commercial.
Very analytical background.
Absolutely. And he helps businesses find where they need to improve. So Carlos is just great mind, very analytical, has probably 2 co-living properties, doing really well and continues to expand and grow, but a lot of good nuggets from Carlos as well. So these are our top 5s on all 3 of our main platforms. I think we have some very important,
I want to know from you, what are some of your favorite, why? Specifically, why? Why should a new PadSplit potential host want to watch the specific episodes or episode that you recommend?
I don't know if they're my favorite, but I think they're worth mentioning, really worth mentioning. I think, and I would say that these episodes that we mentioned have been in the platform a little bit longer, so they've had more exposure as well as ones that we've recently released. But I would say Fernando Corona's episode, holy crap, what an episode. Why? He talks about financing, right? He, just like Jeff Weller, is a brilliant mind at financing, but he explains in detail how to do it, step by step. Details. So if you're unsure on how to acquire first password or how to go through it, go listen to Fernando Corona. He is a young parent. I don't know. He's just phenomenal. That's such a good episode. That one was one that was completely worth mentioning. I know that one probably next year will be also top 5 as it continues to grow it in age really well. But to me, that's one of those.
For sure. Fernando, for me, young entrepreneur.
That has gone through hardship. He had a really big loss in a business and he had to start all over again.
Yeah, Fernando, young entrepreneur, got into PadSplit early. Really? My gauge is I've been here for almost 4 years. Before me, there was just Texas and 2 Atlanta. Cities in Texas and Atlanta. So 3 cities on PadSplit. And I go, were they here before me? And Fernando in the world of PadSplit, yes, he was here before me.
Early pioneer.
And he invested into the concept and then got into lending and then looks to continue to educate and collaborate. So Fernando, I agree with that episode. My pick, and we can go back and forth on a couple, but I like operational, especially for new host.
Okay.
The 3 that I would say stick out would be Kathleen Crawford.
Okay. I was going to fill in that blank. Agreed.
One of the largest operators in all of PadSplit. She's not one investor. She's the person that is managing your favorite investor's investment.
That's right.
So if you think your investor is running their house, they're probably not. Kathleen's probably doing it for them. Including ours.
Cat's a bulldog.
So Kathleen, to understand a little bit about what the day-to-day looks like on PadSplit, and also the great work she does with people. For the same reasons, Michael Aparicio.
I mean, he's top 5.
He is top 5, but for people to go watch, I'd say Mike, because again, operations.
Oh yeah.
How do you handle situations?
Great one there.
And then I'll throw one in there you might not think of.
I'm going to say Paul Biolsi.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
Damn, we're married. So
love it.
Paul.
Yeah, Paul was really insightful. I learned so much from Paul on the value of what quality products you're putting on your PadSplit. I agree with you. I was also going to bring that one up. So I'm glad we're thinking similarly. But yeah, Paul was so insightful furniture wise, because sometimes we're like, just get the Amazon bed, but the bed, right? Just go to IKEA. It looks good.
Go ask your local account executive for a list of, furniture items from Amazon. Everybody buys from there, but now have a furniture person to go ahead and guide you and tell you, hey, this is solid furniture. We warranty it. And this is the reason why furniture is important. That's a great ass episode to get tidbits and understand why furniture is important. We should have had a photographer with furniture at the same time.
We'll add some more for next year for sure. We want to continue to diversify the hosts that we're bringing in, not just the hosts, but the guests, because vendors have great insight that we don't think of. Oh, we need a couple contractors too. We want to bring some of those.
We definitely already have a couple people lined up, but we hear you. Everybody wants to hear, how much does it cost to put a wall up on PadSplit? Crap, it depends on the labor, depends on the material, depends on a bunch of different factors.
So many depends.
But let's go bring a contractor in here so that he can put into perspective on how important it is to hire right and plan correctly.
Agreed. Any other highlights, just in general? Any other episodes that you want to highlight?
I liked our last one. We'll have more Spanish episodes for sure, and I do think that hearing both of those episodes are great, fantastic on scaling. But I also like Michael Mutz's episode.
Michael Mutz was really good. I like Christina Rodriguez tons. Alexis Jimenez was also a really good
both of those people
episode.
You're going to hear a lot more from them, and I'm sure we're going to have them commentate and talk more to the Spanish community, because there are large players in the Spanish community. They continue to educate the Spanish community.
Drew Aquenda was also really good. I don't know. It's hard. Like, for our first season, I'm feeling really excited and reassured about every single person that we brought to the podcast. Even Gino with such a small PadSplit. It's just a 4-unit one. But he's like, I've had phenomenal members in here, and I do these small things to keep them happy, and I change the shower curtain once a quarter. Like, holy crap. Those are the small things that really make those members stay longer in your property. So it's hard. I don't know. I feel super proud about every single guest that we brought in, including ourselves.
For sure.
We need to do a second episode of ourselves, talking a little bit more about our PadSplit and our operations. But we are just excited also for what's coming.
There's a lot that's coming. We've already started the process of recording a bit of our season 2.
That's right.
And with our season 2, now we're way more comfortable interviewing people in long distance. So now we're having people from across the country join us on the podcast and tell you about their experiences and how they've been able to grow and scale. You're not just hearing it from the perspective of people we've worked with in the Florida area, or have Fernando come in from California or something like that. Now
if you're interested in participating with us and being in this podcast, and you want to fly in Orlando, we would love to have you here. We would love to have you here, because there's so many investors in different states and different cities that have unique experiences and so much wealth of knowledge for all of us. We keep learning every single day from educating investors and from hearing how they're working their operations on a daily basis, right? This is a book that we'll continue to write.
Correct. But if you don't have a trip to Disney anytime soon, we'll gladly interview you
virtually,
the modern way.
Yes. That's right.
Other than that, we hear calls. Obviously, people want to hear from top operators on PadSplit. I will address that too here right now. It's difficult to try to get somebody who is private, or people that are private that don't want to share their information. But it's not a lack of trying. And we definitely ask every time we talk to such investors on sharing wealth and information.
That's right.
We will bring them as they feel comfortable. And we will obviously push, but we are taking a lot of what they know and sharing it with the masses. So we will have more episodes on guidance. That might just be Orianna and myself guiding you on standards and different topic points. We will have probably some in-person event interviews from different events that we go to throughout the year, and also include possibly more PadSplit upper management in here from different departments.
More internal, yeah.
So that you can hear, okay, what GM of Texas, how's it going down there? How's the market?
That's right.
Not trying to call you out a deal, but
he has a PadSplit too.
He has a PadSplit. And that was kind of one of our early prerequisites is in order for you to be on PadSplit on our podcast,
you need to own a PadSplit.
You need to own a PadSplit. But obviously operations is another thing. So we're going to have more of those people on here so that they can tell you best practice, what works and what works in different markets. Because our goal at the very end of the day is to continue to educate and to give highlight information that works specifically for PadSplit, and maybe somebody that is looking for that information can get it from us. So,
agreed. We are grateful for you all. We are expanding and growing our podcast. So,
and portfolio.
Yes, that too. We just want to thank you all for tuning in throughout the year. We want to thank you all for sharing and liking and commenting and subscribing. It means so much to us. That one click really makes a difference in our channel and our production. It's actually Ray. He is the production man. I help a little bit behind the scenes, but really is just him. So the more we grow, the more you support us, we can, of course, create better quality of content, better editing, all those things that are so costly. But we want to thank you again for tuning in with us and supporting us, and stay tuned. And if you have any suggestions, we're always open to them. We want to hear your feedback. We're taking notes for the ones the feedback that has already been provided. And yeah, if you have any specific hosts that you want to hear from, if we can convince them, and if they're comfortable coming in,
nominate them,
but you'll see them here if they're willing to do it.
And if this looks like a funny set, I just kind of thought about it. This is kind of going to be the different view and the different angle for our episodes moving forward. We'd still have the great orange couch on the side, but we are changing a couple different things up. We're very excited, as Orianna said, to continue to educate everybody. Please do like and subscribe to the podcast, share with a friend, comment, give us feedback. There are some changes coming. There will be a pause in post for the next 2 months. And
we will start posting again in February. We are enjoying holidays with our family, and also ramping up for 2025 within PadSplit, because we have big goals as a company, and as account executives, we had bigger quotas that we have to meet. So we're going to get prepared for that, what's coming next year. But it's going to be, our first episodes will be launched back in February. So stay tuned
for an announcement on the actual release of the episodes. Continue to watch older episodes, continue to reach out to us, continue to schedule appointments, refer a friend to us specifically. Our links will be down below. And we'll catch you in 2025.
But happy holidays to you and your family. Stay safe, enjoy, hug your mom, hug your dad, hug your family. Stay thankful, people. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are appreciative of you and listening to us. Bye.
Thanks for tuning into the Coliving with PadSplit podcast, hosted by Ray and Orianna Nunez. For more exclusive content and community updates, join our Facebook group and follow us on all social media platforms. Stay tuned for more episodes.